Hello and welcome back to the channel, people. Welcome back to another match reaction. Newcastle 2, Chelsea 0, another defeat at St James's Park. You know, crucial game. We had to win this game, or at least take a point from this game. To still sit right in the top 5 race. And now, it's not the end of the world because we saw Nottingham Forest dropping points against Leicester City, drawing against Leicester City 2-2. So we are still in the driving seat when it comes to top 5 race. It's still in our hands. But at the end of the day, why do we make everything so difficult for ourselves? Why? I don't understand it. I really don't understand. We played so well against Liverpool. And I thought to myself, even though they were on the beach, it was still Liverpool. It was still the Premier League champions. They still had good players on the pitch. And the way we beated Liverpool, we were dominating from minute 1 to minute 90. And I thought, okay, that's a big confidence booster because we saw the clubs coming out in the dressing room, how the guys were celebrating like they won a trophy, And I was thinking, all right, so that's a huge confidence booster. We're going to go into Newcastle game and we're definitely getting something out of that game. I thought we were going to defeat them 2-1. That was my prediction, and to see my team go to St James's Park and put out that performance is embarrassing. It really is embarrassing. It was so clear to see that was a definition of boys versus men, Newcastle being the men, because the way Chelsea acted in that game, I mean, come on, man. This is supposed to be like a final for you. This is Newcastle standing in your way of making European football, playing in the Champions League. And yet you go out there, concede a goal in the first 2 minutes. Lavia being the one caught in possession. Jacob Murphy gets the ball, gives it to Tonali. Makes it 1-0. Easy tap in for Tonali. 2 minutes into the game. Like, seriously? This is how we start the game. And we know Newcastle. We know Eddie Howe. The atmosphere at St James's Park, the Newcastle fans were buzzing. They were buzzing, And we going 1-0 down in the first 2 minutes. The atmosphere erupted. Because now we are totally on the back foot. We already started the game on the back foot. And now we conceded so early. Now we have to take the game to them. And the way Eddie Howe set Newcastle up was, to allow us to have the ball, because he changed the shape of the team. They went to a back three with wing backs, so they always tried to play on a counter attack. So they allowed us to have the ball, but we couldn't play through the midfield. Why? Because we had Enzo and Lavia in midfield against Tonali and Bruno Guimaraes, two of the most physical midfielders in the league, and we had Caicedo dealing with Anthony Gordon at right back, inverting now and then into midfield, but he always had to keep his eye on Gordon because we all know Gordon is fast, he's skillful, he can punish us, And Caicedo didn't look good playing as a right back, inverting into midfield. Why? Because he's been playing at a high intensity through the whole season, and you're asking him to do two people's jobs at the same time at high intensity. It doesn't work like that. He has to deal with Anthony Gordon, who is fast, who is skillful, invert into midfield, and have a physical battle with Guimaraes and Tonali. You're asking way too much of this guy. That's why I said I want Reece James to play this game. I want him to start this game. He's our club captain. He shouldn't be benching in big games. And we all know it. When Reece James is fit, he's the best right back in the world. So why not make use of him? Why does Enzo Maresca have this thing that Reece James is a fucking midfielder? He's not a midfielder. Play him as a right back. Play him in his natural position and you will see the best out of Reece James. Plain and simple. We could have had Lavia and Caicedo in midfield from the start. From the start to deal with Tonali and Guimaraes. And if we started like that, we don't concede a goal. You push Palmer out to the right, you sacrifice either Neto or Madueke. And you still have the midfield of Enzo, Lavia, and Caicedo. You don't lose that. You still have it. But now you have extra protection in defense with Reece James being there. And then we look at the second half. The second half was much better than the first half. You know, we had Reece James on the pitch. Caicedo was playing in midfield. We looked a lot better. We tried, to get back into the game, but nothing paid off for us. And then at the end of the game, like the last few minutes of the game, Bruno Gomes gets a shot, takes a deflection, makes it 2-0. And that's it. All shoutouts, we lost 2-0 at St. James's Park yet again. And now we were so lucky that Nottingham Forest dropped points against Leicester City. Leicester City getting, in the last few minutes, getting an equalizer, making it 2-2, taking it 2 points off Nottingham Forest. And still leaving the Champions League race in our hands. Still in our hands, but we need to beat Manchester United next, and we need to beat Nottingham Forest. We have to beat both teams now. No excuses. If we want to play Champions League next season, we have to beat both teams, because now we're level on points with Aston Villa, and Nottingham Forest is 1 point behind us. If we drop points against Manchester United, Champions League football is done for us. And I know a lot of you are going to think, oh, Manchester United are poor this season. We definitely will beat them. No. We all know it. Throughout the years, we've seen it. Whenever Manchester United plays Chelsea, they just turn up. They turn up out of nowhere. That doesn't matter how poor they are this season. They just turn up. We saw it last season as well. Manchester United just turned up against Chelsea. It's never a boring game between the two teams. Always a lot of goals involved. And we just have to win against Manchester United, and take it to the last day against Nottingham Forest. Why do we make it so difficult for ourselves at the end of the day? If we took care of business against Newcastle, we wouldn't have been sitting here. If we took care of business against Brentford and Ipswich, we wouldn't have been sitting here now. We would have been second on the table if we beaten Brentford and Ipswich. It's always going to come down to the two games. Like last season, when we didn't make Champions League football, it came down to Burnley and Sheffield United that we didn't beat. They took points from us, Hopefully, it's not the same case this season. Hopefully, we're not going to look back at the Brentford and Ipswich game and say, why, if we just won that games, we would have been in the Champions League next season. I hope it doesn't come down to that. But let's see, people. Like the video if you enjoyed this one. Leave your comments down below. Subscribe if you're not subscribed yet. And I'll see you in the next one, people. Take care of yourselves. Peace.